As much as sometimes it's convenient to think we're all exactly the same and we look alike and we think alike and we do things alike, that's not really true. But on the other hand, we're not totally different and completely unique and one of a kind. Not totally. So when it comes to communication, the DISC profile, D-I-S-C, is an instrument that groups people into one of 4 categories by introversion and extroversion and people or process tendencies. And so you get 2 lines that divide things into 4 quadrants, and then you're one of 4 types of people. The D, I, S, and C all stand for different things, but I'm going to use animals. I think Gary Smalley and John Trent, I think I read this in their book 100 years ago, and that's where I got this. But the D is a lion, the I is an otter, the S is a golden retriever, and the C is a beaver. And the idea is that the lion is the dominant, the excitable, the let's make decisions, give it to me in bullet points, here we go. The I is the otter, energized by people, 101 ideas. Got a lot of things going on. Not all of them are completely thought through, but we're going to make something happen with just sheer force of energy and will. The S, that's steady, is the golden retriever. They want to make sure everyone's feeling comfortable, everyone's feeling cared for, that things are relatively calm and thought through, and we're going to do this together. And then the C is the beaver. And the beaver is very process-oriented, very data-driven, very methodical. So you're going to be higher in one of those categories than the other and have a tendency to be what we call high I or high C or high D, whatever. And people are not distributed equally, such that there's 25% of the population in each of those categories. But you can assume, for purposes of communication, that the person you're talking to does not share your category. So if you're a high I, the person you're talking to, better chance they're a D, S, or C than it is that they're an I. Now maybe they're friends of yours and you're friends because you're both high I's. That could be. The point is, if you want to successfully communicate, you need to, 1, understand your dominant type. And I don't mean dominant like you're the D, I mean dominant like you're most like which of these 4 things. So that you know who you are and how you like to receive information, so that you can be careful that you don't just communicate the way you want to be communicated with. That's step 1, know yourself. Then secondly, you want to take a guess at what the type of person you're talking to, because you are going to be most successful if you can communicate with them the way they want to be communicated with, not the way you want to be communicated with. And so you can see where these things are going to come into conflict. That C person, the beaver, who's very methodical, is going to bump up against that I person, the otter, who's all over the map and has 100 ideas that aren't necessarily thought through, and we'll figure that out when we get there. And the C is like, no, we need to figure it out right now because we got to have a plan and it's got to be thought through, because that's how they think. So whether the C is trying to talk to the I and boring them with the step-by-step, and the otter's like, okay, but I got other things to do, so what do we got to do? Let's make it happen. Yeah, that sounds good. And the C is like, no, you need to hear the whole thing. Could be that, could be flipped around. The I is coming to the C and going, so here's my plan, kind of thinking this, and the C is like, okay, let's start over, let's walk through this. There's just gonna be a mismatch. No matter which of the 4 talks to the other one of the 4, there's a mismatch there. And if you don't adjust your style, you're just not gonna be successful. And so things that you can do if you're, say, the D, the lion, who wants things in bullet points and short and snappy, and let's make a decision. If you're going to come and talk to the S, who wants people to feel comfortable and included, you need to slow down. You need to talk a little more softly. You're going to have some pauses. You're going to make sure that you're exuding some emotion, that you demonstrate that you care about people and you've thought about what people are going to think, and you ask questions like, how does that feel? And how do you think other people are going to react to that? And you acknowledge that you are trying to live in their world. You're trying to respond to their needs and meet their needs to help them get the buy-in. If you come in there hey, all right, so here's the thing. We got to make a decision. Here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Let's do this. The S is just going to lock up. And either they're just going to go along with you because you steamrolled them, or they're going to just resist you because you made them shut down. Neither of those is a good outcome for you. And you can say, well, I'm a high I, it's just who I am, can't change who I am, everybody needs to adjust to me. Well, good luck with that, because people, you don't control other people, you only control you, and people aren't necessarily going to adapt to you, certainly not as much as you want them to. And if you want to have successful communication, the person you control is you, so you can make the adjustments you can make. Now, hopefully that other person's trying to make adjustments as well, and if you both make adjustments, you have a much higher chance of success, but you don't control that person. You just control you. So you need to step back and slow it down. Now, if you're an S or a C talking to that D or I, maybe you need to try to speed it up. Maybe you need to try to get comfortable with, hey, they're not going to want to listen to all my detail. They're going to have confidence in me having spent that time on that, but I don't need to get them to do it. I can just say, hey, I did all the detailed work. I went through a process. You don't need to know the details. You just need to know the summary. You can make that adjustment. Yeah, it always works both ways. It's never, well, the D always has to adjust to the S, or the C always has to adjust to the I, or the I always has to adapt to the D. No, you need to adapt whatever style you are to the other person to the extent you want to be more successful. Don't adapt at your own peril. But we all want to be better communicators. We all want things to be smoother, people to understand our ideas and get on board with us or collaborate with us more effectively. And it starts with communication. And you control you. So step one, understand what type you are. Step two, understand what type the person you're communicating with is. And then step three, make the adjustments that will help them help you so you can communicate effectively and get things done.